So who doesn't like a topwater bite? It is absolutely my favorite way of catching fish. There's just something magical about seeing a fish come up behind that lure and blow up on it, and it's just so exciting, and everybody needs that in their life. But I do understand that sometimes topwater lures can get a little bit technical, and they can be frustrating for new beginners, for people that are just starting into it. If topwater lures have got you frustrated, I'm going to give you 3 types of lures that I want you to use that's going to change all of that. These are the only 3 lures that I would give a beginning topwater angler, and the reason why is because they're super simple to use and they flat out work. What we're going to do today is we are going to break these 3 lures down. We're going to talk about when you should use them, how you should use them, a little bit about the equipment that you need to be using them with, and I'm going to give you a 4th lure, but that one's going to come with a caveat. Now, I'm going to talk about these lures and categories of lures, and I will tell you the brand names of the lures that I'm showing you, but what's important here is I want you to focus on the category. That way, if you're going to look for them, you'll know what to look for. So the first category of lure is going to be a topwater popper. Now this one has a cup face on it, and it also has a rattle in it, so it's got 2 unique ways of calling in those fish. And this is something that's really easy to use. All you have to do is just throw it out there, give it a light twitch with your rod tip. That little cup face right there makes a unique sound. It makes a bloop sound, and it sounds like a feeding fish. So when they hear feeding fish, they'll automatically think that there's food around. So that cup face is one way, and then also those rattles that are in there, that helps them hone in on that. This is a really great lure to use, and it's an easy one to use. Now, whenever you're going to be using this one is whenever it's calm, but you're still seeing feeding activity near the surface. So whenever it's slick calm out there, maybe there's just a slight ripple out there, these are really good because it makes just enough noise to attract the fish, but not spook them off. Some of your ladder lures are not really meant for that calm, clear water. That can spook off the fish. But with this one, you can twitch it really lightly, just enough to get the attention and not spook those fish off. I really like a popper. And again, this is a rattle and chug bug, and it has caught all kinds of fish, but it works really good for your redfish, your trout, and your snook. The next category I want to talk about, to be honest with you, I was really reluctant about talking about this one because this one's kind of my secret weapon when it comes to big springtime trout. Matter of fact, I've probably caught more over 20-inch trout on this lure than just about any other lure that I've used, and that is going to be a prop bait. You don't see these being used that much in inshore, but they're highly effective, and the best time of year to be using these is whenever you have that spring hatch. And the reason why is whenever you have that spring hatch, that fry bait can be really small, but it has a distinctive sound whenever it's being chased. It kind of sprays. And that little metal prop that's on the back, and I like the metal ones, not the plastic ones, that little metal prop on the back, when it spins, it imitates that sound very well, and it calls those fish in from a distance. So if you're seeing that fry bait hatch in your area and you're having a problem mimicking that size, try to mimic that sound with a topwater prop bait. Now, my favorite time to use these topwater prop baits is when I see a lot of bait in the area. And this is another type of lure that you can use in either calm conditions or windy conditions, and you can change how hard you're twitching it and how long those pauses are in between your twitches to match the activity of the fish. So if these fish are a little bit spooky, you can give it some light twitches with some long pauses, and that'll get their attention. But if you're seeing a lot of feeding activity and you're seeing a lot of bait in the area and you need to bring attention to your lure, you can work this a lot harder and put shorter pauses in between your twitches, and that's going to call those fish in. It's going to make your lure stand out amongst all that noise. It is a great lure to use in the springtime, but it works in any of the warmer months from spring to fall, and that's going to be that topwater prop bait. This one happens to be the Head and Baby Torpedo. This one's a really good one. The Rapala Skitter Prop is another good one. There's a lot of different brands out there that work well, but I really do like the ones with the metal blades and not the plastic blades. Now, the next group of lures that's easy for beginners to use is going to be the wake bait. Now, there is absolutely nothing subtle about this lure. This is not a stealth approach. This is not something that you're going to be using whenever it's slick calm and whenever the fish are spooky. This is what you're going to be using whenever there's wind, it's choppy, but the fish are being aggressive. Using a wake bait can be deadly. It puts out a lot of vibration. It moves a lot of water. It's got a lot of noise, and this is what's going to call those fish in. So if you're in an area that's got a little bit of a chop in there, you're fishing shallow water, that 1 to 3 foot, you're seeing bait fish around, you're seeing some feeding activity, having a wake bait is a great way to get these bites. You can really call these fish out. And because it's a loud and irritating lure, it's actually a good idea to make multiple casts in the same area. Even a laid up redfish that's not wanting to eat anything, you can provoke a strike out of them because you're irritating hitting them so much because this is so loud. It doesn't like it. And trust me, when a redfish hits one of these lures, they don't do it lightly. They're mad at these and they hook themselves a lot of times. Now this one's our lure. This one's called a fat lipper. This is our wake bait. But if you're new to topwater fishing, this one is an excellent one to go with whenever the conditions call for it. So these are the three that I'm going to recommend to any of your beginning topwater anglers for inshore fishing. They'll catch fish just about anywhere and they're easy to use. Now here's one that I want you to learn. It's a little bit more technical, and that is going to be a walking style lure. This happens to be our moonwalker. A walking lure is probably responsible for catching more inshore fish topwater than any other lure out there. It's something that I highly recommend that you use. A lot of successful anglers use this all over the country, and this happens to be the lure that I've caught my biggest trout on. That's a 3.5-inch walking lure. They work excellent. I highly recommend that you learn how to use them. And we do have videos that's going to teach you, even videos that will show you how to work that lure from a seated position. Just check us out at saltstrong.com and we can help you out with learning how to use these highly effective lures. So just bring this all together. That topwater popper, that was the first lure I was holding up. That is going to be best used whenever the conditions are calm, but you're still seeing feeding activity on the surface. That topwater popper is going to be great. Now the prop bait, that is going to be the one that you want to use whenever there is a ton of bait in the area, when there's a lot of noise and commotion going on. That prop will be able to make enough noise to attract the attention from those fish that are feeding on that bait. So that's when you're going to use that prop bait, whenever there's a lot of bait around. And that wake bait, that is that really loud one. That's the one that you're going to want to use whenever there is chop on the water, when there's a lot of commotion, whenever you're seeing waves push up against that shoreline or up against those oyster beds. Those wake baits can be outstanding in those situations. So whenever that wind is up, throw that wake bait. Now let's talk about the equipment that you need to throw these lures. For any of these that I mentioned before, a 7 to 7.5 foot medium power fast action will work with any of these. It's standard inshore fare. If you like using spinning equipment, a 2,500 to a 3,000 size reel with 10 to 15 pound braid works great on this. And if you're a bait casting person, a size 80 or even a 100 size reel is going to be perfect. Now as far as the leader, I like using 30 pound mono, and the reason why is it sinks slower, so it's got less of a chance to get fouled on that front hook on that lure. And as far as the knot goes, you can either use a loop knot or you can use a snug knot. It doesn't matter on either one of these lures, so use the one that you're confident in. Now with all that being said, make sure that you're fishing in the right places. It doesn't matter how good your equipment is. If you're not fishing where the feeding fish are, chances are you're not going to be catching any fish. So if you need help finding those feeding fish, make sure and check us out at saltstrong.com. Between our community and our Smart Fishing Spots app, we can definitely help you catch more fish. If you have been frustrated using topwater lures, hopefully this video is going to help you out and give you some choices that's going to be more effective for you, be easier to use, and hopefully you can get on some fish. Now I do have a question for you out there, for your seasoned veterans out there. Put down in the comments below, what is the first topwater lure that you've ever caught a fish on, and are you still using it? I'd love to know. So again, hope this video helps you out. If you got any questions or comments, go ahead and put those down below and I'll try to answer them as soon as I can. As always, I really do appreciate you watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Have a great one. Bye.